Hey, good morning, CCA students. Today is Khan Academy. Not terribly difficult, but it does take a little bit of thought behind it. Function, domain, word problems. So, we're trying to decipher the domain. So, first question here, and I kind of broke it up. So, the main part is right here. The first question is in yellow, the second question is in blue that we're doing, so I could fit this in one screen. H of y, which by the way, this part, anytime you have the function of something, that models your y coordinates or your range. And the actual y portion inside of this, which would typically be your x, is your domain. Okay, so h of y models the leading number of home runs. So home runs, this is your y coordinate. That's how many home runs were hit in which specific year. Okay. Y, or number of home runs for the season Y by National Leagues between 2000 and 2010. So Y stands for which season it was. I'm sorry, X stands for which season it was, or your domain, which I get confused because it lists it as Y, which is a little confusing. So just be careful of that. So your true X coordinate or domain is what season it was. Your y coordinate, which is the outcome, was how many home runs were hit during that. So, which number is the more appropriate for a domain? So, are these domains measured as integers or real numbers is the more correct answer. Now, if you said, well, they're all real numbers and they're all integers, you're correct. They are both, okay? But do we ever need a decimal or a fraction in this domain right here? And because the answer in this one is no, each year stands by itself, we would say that integers is the more appropriate domain of this one. Okay, if you could have had a 2000.5, then we would have gone with real numbers. Now, what is the appropriate domain? Well, the domain starts in the year 2000 and the domain goes through the year 2010. So our most appropriate domain is right here between 2000, where y is greater than 2000 but less than or equal than 2010. Okay, let's do one more. And you'll notice on this one they kind of worded something a little bit, which kind of makes it weird too. Well, let's read into it here. When the temperature, oh, there it is right here. Alicia's freezer can be set to a range of temperatures from -6 to -1 degrees. I got to tell you, this word right here, I did not like that they used that word right there. So it says it can be set to a range. We normally think of range as measuring your y coordinates or your outcomes. That wasn't the intention of this word right here. So please note that. That was not the intention of that word right here. So Alicia's freezer can be set to a range of -6 to -1. Okay. When the temperature is at -1, it takes water 4 hours to freeze. When the temperature, the shortest time is 2 hours when the temperature is at -6. The T of t, here they use the same variable for both, just one's capitalized, one's not. The T of t, which again would be your outcomes or your y coordinates, models the time in hours. So hours is your outcome. It's how long something took to freeze. At a temperature of T degrees. So temperature is your domain. How long it took to freeze is your range. So the question becomes, are integers or real numbers the best thing? So I know we could set this to -6 degrees. The question is, could we set this to -5.5 or 5.25? Because if you think about putting something on a dial, does it have to go only on those numbers, or can you also dial it in between those numbers? And I would say yes, you can dial between. So this one would be a case where it's real numbers. It's not just -6, -5, -4, but it could be -4.25 or -5.75, or those type numbers could be in there as well. Now, what's appropriate about the domain? Remember that the domain on this one is your range right here. Going from, it's the temperatures that you can set it at, which is -6 to -1. So our domain on this one would be right down there. hopefully this makes good sense to you. Take your time, really think about each answer before you put them in there, because if you don't, sometimes you can slip up on these things a little bit. So good luck to you, and enjoy your, I think it's your third to last day of school. Bye-bye.